Master horse racing with daily racing forms Formulator, now free for DRF Bets members. Sign up to get the best bonus in racing with a $250 deposit match, plus a $10 free bet and free Formulator past performances. Go to drf.com/bet to play like a pro today.
Dan Illman, Mike Beer, race number 12 at Pimlico on Black Eyed Susan Friday is the Grade 3 $300,000 Pimlico Special. We're going the Preakness distance of 1 mile and 3/16. This race, of course, for older horses. Let's take a look at this field. It's nice to see a big field for the Pimlico Special, and it's headed by Todd Pletcher's number 1, Vindictive, coming off a fast win and a second-level allowance at Aqueduct. This horse should appreciate the extra 16th of a mile, and he's run the fast races.
Yeah, he's run the fast races on the way in, Dan. He is a horse who it just feels like the farther that they write races for him, the better. He just really stays in his races, and he really does look like the clear horse to beat in here. Pletcher also has the second choice on the morning line, Untreated, who's got a little bit more proving to do, but he's also run some good races.
The 8 First Captain 5-1 has also shown some ability, just has yet to put it together. Maybe this is the right spot. We'll get to him in a little bit. It is certainly a big field to be sure, with 11 in here. Mischief afoot the 10, Mohawk the 11. We'll take a look at the Time Form US pace projector for this race, because going 1 mile and 3/16, there's a chance that the number 4, Working on a Dream, can get to the front and back things down. And while Working on a Dream is a very nice handicap horse on the Mid-Atlantic circuit, he is taking a step up in class. I will say 2 things about him. A, he likes a fight, and B, he ran pretty well last time out on a very fast pace.
Yeah, he did. We'll see how this pace all plays out. I mean, when I looked at it then, I didn't see a ton of speed, but there are horses who, are going to keep this pace within range. It's not like even the 2 favorites are dead closers in this race. So we'll see how loose Working on a Dream can get, because I do think he's going to need some help if he's going to wire this field.
If Accelerator runs here, I believe he's also cross-entered in a race on Preakness Day. He could show some speed as well, and you never know. Maybe First Captain stretching out significantly and adding blinkers with the aggressive Luis Saez. Maybe the number 8 can be close to the pace. And we'll take a look at the number 1, Vindictive, your morning line favorite. Arad Ortiz aboard for trainer Todd Pletcher. Earned a big figure in his 3-year-old finale, running 3rd in the Discovery at Aqueduct, and then won his seasonal debut in this race, going 1 mile and 1/8. He's had a very nice trip in this race. Little pocket rocket, angling to the outside from behind a slow pace. Didn't love the way he was drifting out the final 16th, but maybe that was just the layoff talking.
Yeah, it could have been. Just much the best in this race, Dan. Very heavily betting here. Sat a perfect trip. Too good for this field. I thought he ran really well, though. Just making his 4-year-old debut here. He was really good as a 3-year-old, especially once they stretched him out. It feels like distance is the key to this horse. His last 4 starts and 2 turn routes, he's run really well on all of them.
Liked how he was able to save ground inside. Didn't bother him. He draws the inside post here, and if the pace isn't fast, he's shown that he can adapt and stay close to moderate fractions. Sugar Ray 2 is the number 2, $25,000 claimer, turned stakes placed marathoner. This horse likes distance. I just wonder if he wants even more distance. He was second in the Birdstone at Saratoga, going 14 furlongs behind Lone Rock. His one start off the layoff was at 1 mile and 70 yards. He caught a very hot horse. The runner-up came back to win a couple of allowances at Laurel, one with a 99 Beyer speed figure. And for him, running 1 mile and 70 yards off a short layoff, for most might be going 6.
Yeah, that's true. He probably does want even longer than this, but the distance is still a positive for him. And he has run some fast races along the way, Dan. They don't try him in the, really tough races that often. And when they have, it hasn't necessarily worked out that great for him. But listen, maybe he gets a fast pace in front of him and he can pick up some pieces late.
Untreated, the number 3, also trained by Todd Pletcher. Joel Rosario will take the mount. This is a very lightly raced 4-year-old. He does have some upside potential. They tried him in the Mine Shaft 2 starts back. He caught one of the top handicap horses in the country, an Olympiad. I didn't think he ran particularly well in that race, however, and then he came back in the Excelsior, and while he ran better, he got beat by a big bomb, Forewarned, who's also in this field.
Yeah, it's hard to get past the last one. I mean, I sort of felt differently about his Mine Shaft than you did. I actually felt like he ran pretty well in there. It was just too tough for him. He wasn't ready for that kind of a field at that point. But it wasn't a terrible performance. He was wide all the way around the track there. I don't know what to say about his last race, Dan. He's just supposed to win there. Set a good trip, came for The leaders in the stretch actually got by and had the lead in the stretch, and he just let Forewarned fight back on him and settled for second best in there. It's not a good loss.
Number 4 is Working on a Dream. Timeform US's expected pace setter, Horatio Caramanos, aboard for the Robin Graham barn. And while this gelding has more seconds than wins, he does have a lot of fight. If you go back to some of the races where he faced Cordmaker, who's one of the region's better handicap horses, it looked like in both those races that the more favored Shack Queen King was going to go right by him for at least second, and he just refused to let that horse go by him in either one of those races. Last time out, a very fast pace. He made the first move. The problem is the winner of that race seemed like a hopeless long shot on paper.
Yeah, the winner of that race was 1,000,000 to 1. This horse still ran okay though, because you're right, the pace was solid, and he did make an early run at it. There was never, in my opinion anyway, there was never a real point in the stretch where it looked like he was going to win. He was just sort of grinding away there without enough to take over on the lead in there, but he still ran okay in that spot.
Dexter Haddock takes the mount on the number 5, Forewarned. Uriah St. Louis is the trainer. I was very disappointed with his native dancer because that was the race with the big pace that we just talked about with Working on a Dream. And Forewarned found his usual spot at the back of the pack, and he never picked up his feet. It is interesting to note, however, that when he runs without Lasix, he can pull off big upsets, as he did in the Queen's County at 42 to 1, and as he did when he won the Excelsior 2 starts back. Maybe Lasix off is the angle we're looking for. I am worried about the lack of pace.
I'm worried about that. I'm worried about his last race too, where I don't know what the excuse was there, though. He just didn't pick up his feet. He did run well in the Excelsior, a race where, again, Dan, he looked like he was beaten mid-stretch. Untreated came for him, went by him, and then just failed to seal the deal. And this horse fought back. I'll give him credit for being game, but I don't know that he was best in the Excelsior either. His race 3 back, I don't know if I buy that figure, Dan. He ran okay in that race, but that's another race where it never looked like he was going to win, and he just came up short.
I think the 6, Capo Costello, is lurking under the radar for Fausto Gutierrez, Flavian Pratt. This horse was a star in Panama, really appreciated this distance. And you look at his 2 races in North America. He caught Olympiad off a long layoff at Gulfstream where he tried to rally from well off the pace. And then last time out in the Go Sapper, he caught Gulfstream loving Fearless, who came back to actually transfer that form to Oaklawn in his subsequent start, second to the Oaklawn Cap with a 96 buyer. And that was a race that just didn't have a lot of pace and set up well for him. I think Capo Costello is a good fit, and 8 to 1 is a fair price.
Yeah, I do think there's a chance he could really take a step forward here. We'll see if he does. I'm still, not sold on him. I know his form in Panama is really, really good. I can't say that I've been particularly taken with his 2 starts over here. Maybe there are enough excuses, that Gulfstream track probably doesn't play to his running style, but he wasn't sharp in either of them. And I know he got up for second last time in the Go Zapper, but there was never a point where he was involved in that race. He just sort of got up, clumped up for second at the end. I don't know. To me, he's got to take a pretty big step forward here.
The number 7, Accelerator, might be one of the speeds in the race if he goes here. Again, he is cross-entered on Saturday. He's also finished first in 6 of his last 7 races with the tough DQ in the Tessio, going 1 mile and an eighth, 3 starts back, but he's shrugged off the layoff with no problems, including this victory. He's 2 for 2 this year, both going a 1-turn mile with a long stretch at Laurel. And this race was over a muddy track. He went to the front. He extended on the backstretch. He won very comfortably. He just needs to run faster.
He does. I like his recent form. I know that, the Tessio, maybe he was best that day anyway before he got disqualified, and that was going 9 furlongs. I'm still worried about distance for this horse.
First Captain is the number 8 as we watch Accelerator splash on home. It certainly is a long stretch to the second wire at Laurel, going a 1-turn mile. First Captain started his career. He won his first 3 starts. There was a lot of buzz around him. He ran a fine third of the Curlin in his final start at 3, and maybe he's just racing himself back into shape. His first start of the year was more of a gutsy win than anything else at Gulfstream, but he got the job done going 7/8. And what chance did he really have last time out against Speaker's Corner, especially with that trip, chasing a slow pace from the outside? He's a player, and the question really is just distance, isn't it? He's bred for it.
He's bred for it. I'm happy to give him another chance stretching out here, Dan. I don't know about the morning line price on him. I don't think I would take that, but I do think there's a chance he rebounds here and runs a much better race. I actually thought his Curlin last year the first time they stretched him all the way out. I thought that was an underrated performance. And then he just missed the rest of the year. I liked his return. I mean, he was never going to win the Carter. Last time he was still pretty bad in that race. I don't know why he came up. So he was empty from a long way out in there, which was really disappointing. But I do think he could rebound in this race.
He gets blinkers, he stretches out, he is eligible to show more speed. The 9 is Treasure Trove, claimed by Anthony Farrier for $32,000 at Keeneland last fall. Javion Toledo takes them out. Let's watch the last race, Allowance at Laurel going 1 1/8 miles. This was a race that featured a very fast pace for this sort of horse. And while Galerio is just a rock-solid allowance runner at Laurel, he's not of the class of the horses Treasure Trove is going to be facing on Friday, but Treasure Trove does grind it out. He's in good form.
Yeah, he's in good form. He's a rock solid horse. He's not a stakes horse. These kinds of races feel like they're just going to wind up being too tough for him, Dan. I do think he's a horse, though. You don't have to worry about the distance for him, and he could maybe clunk up and get a piece of this at a price.
Trainer Jimmy Toner has the 10, Mischief afoot. Jose Ortiz will get them out once again, and Mischief afoot's coming off a runner-up effort and a third-level allowance at Keeneland. We're going to watch that race right now. Mischief afoot, though, doesn't have a lot of early speed, and you could argue he's at the mercy of pace and race luck. Jose worked out an inside-out closer's trip here, and he gets up for second.
Yeah, I mean, this is what he does. He doesn't have any speed at all, Dan. He's going to be outrun early in this race, and then he's just going to try to, get himself within range, and hopefully he's close enough to the leaders that he can close them down in the stretch. I know he's going to run in here. I just don't know if it's going to be good enough to catch the horses. There are going to be a lot of horses in front of him. I don't know if he's going to be able to catch all of them.
Former jockey Elvis Trujillo trains the 11 Mohawk, Ruben Silvera aboard. This horse is just like many Tappets. He is a grouch. He'll be fractious behind the gate and give the gate crew all kinds of problems, but he is a one-run closer where if you give him some pace, he can kick, although it's questionable whether he'll be able to kick with these type of horses. Let's watch his stakes debut, though, last time out, the Whiteley. This is going 7/8 of a mile, and he got a very good pace setup. He gets to the outside, and he's going to finish second behind Disco Pharaoh, who is becoming very quickly a promising sprinter.
Yeah, that's a pretty good horse that wins this race. Mohawk isn't, another race where he's just not really a threat in here, Dan, but he's very game to prevail for second. This is a huge step up in class for him.
I do wonder if he's going to be more effective down the road as that sort of one-run, late-running, one-turn horse. 20-1 on the morning line for Mohawk. Before we get to our top picks for the Pimlico Special, please click the subscribe button on the Daily Racing Form YouTube channel for access to all of DRFTV's video offerings. Top pick time for the Pimlico Special. He's just got the figs. Vindictive's run the fast races. I think he could trip out from the inside post in here. I'd like to maybe try to get some of the locals in behind him, though, at a decent price. I think Working on a Dream's going to show some good speed. I think a couple of these other horses, including Mischief afoot, they could clunk up and get a piece.
Yeah, I can see that happening too. I just couldn't get past the favorite in here, Dan. It just looks like a really good spot for him, and he got a great draw on the inside. He's supposed to fall into another good trip here.
1865 for Mike, 110.54 for me. It's the prestigious Pimlico Special on Black Eyed Susan Friday. Good luck.